welcome to my channel, and today we'll be talking about self-love and what I think of self-love is. Self-love to me is just a way and where like you love yourself, you accept yourself who you are, and you have boundaries. You know what you will do, what you won't do, like boundaries and stuff like that, and you know what you won't accept, and you know when to put your foot down, and you know when to walk away, especially like from people like friendships, romantic relationships. Like, it doesn't matter, like you realize this is no longer serving you, or said person is hurting you, and you just walk away, or you realize that you're putting in too much into something or into someone, like I said, romantic relationship or friendship, especially when it comes down to anything, and you kind of realize, oh, I'm putting too much into somebody. Like, there's an old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. Like, for example, if you have juice, right, and there's juice, and you're pouring the juice into the cup, and it's like empty and stuff like that. The reason why it's empty is because you've done already too much. And then there's like another person, and they're not pouring at all. They're just gonna be full because they're keeping themselves and doing like what they want to do, and they're not reciprocating. Versus you're hurting yourself because you keep pouring into an empty cup because there's nothing left of you. I don't know how to explain the saying, but that's what I'm trying to basically say. And what else was I gonna say? And with that comes into like self-love, and with that comes into like karmic lessons and stuff. And it's like you can either repeat the lesson and you never learn from it, and you go through it over and over again. You can like get yourself and be like, oh, why do I keep attracting these people? It's because the universe is trying to teach you a lesson about certain people and stuff like that. Or you can keep doing it over and over and over again, and you're just gonna meet the same person. You're gonna continuously keep getting hurt. So you have two of those. And then after that, it reminded me of this old video that Eartha Kitt used to talk about, and it's basically a video about compromise. Some people believe like compromise in a way of like when two people come together and stuff like that, and the person is like compromising, and it's like, this is how it's gonna be. We're gonna do this because you like this, or I'm gonna do this because we like this, and you come together, you compromise, so one person gets something out of it. But what I feel is that she's talking about is that not to compromise is not to compromise your morals and stuff like that. And it feels like your morals, especially like as a woman, and I agree with her, because like you should not compromise your morals, should not compromise your values. You shouldn't, stop being who you are just for another person. You shouldn't have to constantly chase somebody. And I'm talking to the girls and the women here. You shouldn't have to be doing this and doing that, and he's doing nothing or the bare minimum. That's not good for you. That's not respecting yourself. That's not what self-love is. You shouldn't get to the point where you're acting out of character, or someone's driving you mad, or you have to do all of this just to have put all the energy into relationship, because if you don't do it, then he's not gonna do it. That's lazy, that's rude, that's not like reciprocal, and that's not right, and that's not fair to the girl. And I really agree with that. Like, you should never have to compromise, and a relationship should be about you falling in love with yourself, because like, you don't want to be the person that all your focus and energy goes into one person, and then something happens and everything, and then all you're gonna be thinking about is that other person, because that's all you've been putting your energy into. Is there anything else I want to say about that? I completely agree with that. Like, if I'm falling into like a relationship or whatever, there would be no compromise, because I'm not compromising my values, I'm not compromising myself. I'm gonna fall in love with myself, and that's just how it's gonna be. And yes, like I said, when you do fall in love, there's nothing to compromise. All you know as like a woman is that you fall in love with yourself. And yes, when you fall in love with yourself and you have the self-respect, you have the boundaries, you have the self-care, you have the self-love and all that stuff for yourself, it allows you to fall in love with yourself. So there's no need to compromise on that fact, because when you compromise, you can compromise too much, and then it becomes about the other person. But when you like have self-love, have respect, and all that stuff for yourself, and you fall in love with yourself, the only thing you have to do is really share that love with somebody, because they have that love for themselves, you have that love for yourself, so you come together So there's really not that need of a compromise, you know? I feel like that's what she was trying to say, because I feel like when people first heard that interview, it was a way of like, oh, you're not bending and kneeling to like some to someone. You're not, you know, going all over the place to make someone happy or whatever. It's like I feel like the way they explain it, like they wanted her to like be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna lose myself, I'm gonna myself, I'm not gonna do blah, blah, blah. It's like she's like explaining that there's no need to compromise, because when people come to each other and come together, especially as a woman, they already have fallen in love with themselves. They have that respect for themselves. They have the boundaries for themselves. So that shouldn't be no problem. And as a woman, you should fall in love with yourself, have respect for yourself, have self love for yourself. And when that comes together, the self love, the self respect, the boundaries, the care that you have for yourself, and the care that other person has for themselves allows you to like come together, because in that way, in that perceived way, in that way, you both have fallen in love with each other and fall in love with yourselves. So there's nothing to compromise. And when you do that, that person gets to share it with you, and you get to share it with that person. She wasn't coming off in a way of being like mean or anything. And I agree with her, especially as a woman. Like, you shouldn't have to compromise your values. You shouldn't have to be putting in so much effort into like a relationship or a friendship. And it's like you're pouring from an empty cup. They're sucking out your energy. Or it's like, if you know that you don't text that person, they're not gonna text you. Like, that's not falling in love with yourself. That's harming yourself. That's a danger to your mental health, because it's not fair to yourself. Because it's like, if you're gonna be doing this, they should at least do their part. And that's where I completely agree with her, because like when you do that to yourself, you're just making your head go mental, just making your head get a headache, and it's just gonna drive you up the wall. And then on top of that, you already know that whoever is doing that to you doesn't care, because someone who does that to you, either it's a friend or it's a partner, they would not put them in a position to lose that type of relationship, neither be romantic or platonic. So I agree with her, and honestly, I'm gonna carry that advice. I'm not gonna compromise. I'm gonna fall in love with myself. So when you fall in love with yourself, that person's fall in love with themselves, you can come together and share the love that you have together. But if it does come down to something, I exactly won't compromise, but I will listen to them. I'll hear them out, and we'll come and talk to each other about it. Like, respectfully and everything, but I'm not gonna lose my way. I'm not gonna make myself go crazy. I'm not gonna chase after somebody. I'm not gonna put myself on the backseat burner for them. I'm gonna do me, because we already know some people can be very selfish when it comes to themselves and don't care. So I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna do what I have to do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.